Before we tell you this story, ask yourself one question. When you picture a firefighter, what do you see?
Tonight, we are telling a story that has been buried, minimized, and deliberately ignored for 200 years. The story of the women who ran into burning buildings long before anyone said they were allowed to, who fought fires with one hand and fought the institution with the other. This is not a feel-good story. This is a fight, and it is still happening right now. Welcome to The Burning Oath, the channel that never flinches from the fire, the history, or the truth.
Here is where we start. Today, right now, women make up less than 5% of career firefighters in the United States. In the largest department in the country, the FDNY, women account for less than 1% of the operational force. 1% in 2024. This is not an accident. This is the result of 200 years of deliberate exclusion. And tonight, we are going back to the beginning. On this channel, we do not sanitize history. We do not soften what was hard. We name the names of the women who fought and the institutions that fought back. We give credit where 200 years of credit has been withheld. Stay with us, because what you are about to learn is going to make you angry. It is going to make you proud, and it should make you want to do something about it. This is Women Who Ran In. Let's go. New York City, 1815. The city has no professional fire department. It has volunteer companies, men who respond to fires as civic duty. One of those companies is Oceanus Engine Company, number 11, in Lower Manhattan. And one of those volunteers is a woman named Molly Williams. She is enslaved, she is African American, and she is the first known female firefighter in the history of the United States. Molly Williams saved lives that night. She was officially recorded as volunteer number 11. She was described, in the company's own words, as good a fire laddie as many of the boys. And then history moved on. Her name was nearly lost. The institution she served did not build a plaque for her, did not name a station after her. She was a footnote in a logbook. She deserves to be the headline. 5 years after Molly Williams, a woman named Marina Betts joined a volunteer fire company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In 10 years of service, she never missed a single alarm. Not one. When male bystanders refused to help at a fire scene, legend says she poured buckets of water over them until they joined in. History almost lost her name too. We are saying it now. San Francisco, 1851. A 15-year-old girl named Lily Hitchcock Coit is walking down the street when she sees the volunteers of Knickerbocker Engine Company, number 5, struggling to pull their engine to a fire. They are short-handed. She grabs the rope. She pulls. Others follow. The engine reaches the fire. The fire is stopped. Lily Hitchcock Coit was made an honorary member of the Knickerbocker Company on October 3, 1863. She wore their uniform to every fire she could reach for the rest of her life. For most of the 1800s, women who served in fire brigades were exceptions, tolerated, celebrated in local legend, and then quietly pushed back to the margins when the men returned. But World War I changed everything. When American men went overseas to fight, the women they left behind did not stand still. Across the country, women formed volunteer fire brigades, staff stations, and kept their communities safe. And then the men came home, and the women were asked to step back again. Cedar Hill, Rhode Island, 1931. A woman named Nancy Allen decides her rural community needs fire protection. So she buys a second-hand fire engine with her own money, fixes it up herself, and recruits her neighbors to form a volunteer department. She provides more than 1,000 feet of fire hose and 2 motor-driven pumps out of her own pocket. Nancy Allen was credited with saving dozens of lives. She became the first female fire chief in the world. Not in America, in the world. When World War II pulled millions of American men overseas, women stepped into every gap the nation had. They built ships, flew military aircraft, worked munitions factories, and they fought fires. Across the country, women staffed fire stations, drove apparatus, and maintained the protection of communities that would otherwise have had none. They were not celebrated for this, they were expected to do it. And they did. After World War II, women were pushed back out of the workforce, including the fire service, with a speed and a totality that is stunning to look at now. For 25 years, American fire departments operated as all-male institutions, as though the women who had served in them had never existed. History was reset, the door was closed, until the women decided to stop knocking and start pushing. 1964, the Civil Rights Act, Title VII. It prohibits discrimination in hiring on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. The word sex is in there, famously added almost as an afterthought by a congressman who thought it would kill the bill. It didn't kill the bill, and for women who wanted to fight fires for a living, it opened the door, not wide, but open. Here is the part they leave out of the feel-good version of this history. The Civil Rights Act said women could not be discriminated against in hiring. Fire departments across America responded by creating physical fitness tests specifically engineered to exclude women, not to find the fittest candidates, to eliminate the women who were applying. The law opened the door. The institution built a wall inside it. Arlington County, Virginia, 1974. A woman named Judith Livers becomes the first known woman to be hired as a full-time career firefighter in the United States. She had already been volunteering with the Fairfax County Department. She knew the job. She had proven herself.
No women shower?
When she applied for the Arlington position, they created a physical fitness test specifically for her, a test that had never existed before, and gave her gear that was multiple sizes too large. She passed anyway. Judith Livers faced something that female firefighters across the country would describe for the next 50 years. Her crew intentionally sabotaged her equipment so she would fail inspections. They did not want her there. They made that as clear as they could without being put on record. She did not quit. She documented it, and she kept showing up. 1976, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Toni McIntosh becomes the first African-American woman hired as a career firefighter in the United States. She was not just breaking one barrier. She was standing at the intersection of two, race and gender, in an institution that had built walls against both. She broke them, both of them, simultaneously, and most people have never heard her name. By the mid-1970s, the women's movement had reshaped American culture. Women were demanding and winning access to institutions that had been closed to them for generations. But the firehouse was one of the most resistant. It was not just a workplace, it was an identity, a brotherhood built on the idea that what happened inside those walls was uniquely male. And it was willing to fight very hard to stay that way. New York City, 1977. The FDNY finally allows women to take the firefighter exam for the first time in its history. 90
Lift the
women
sandbag
take
to
the
chest
test.
height. Hold.
All 90
Failure.
fail
Next.
because the physical
Vest on.
exam
Run.
has been specifically
Too slow,
designed to
disqualified.
produce that
Inadequate,
outcome.
failed.
One of those 90 women is a lawyer named Brenda Berkman, and she is not finished. She sues the city of New York. She argues the physical exam discriminates against women by testing for characteristics that are not actually required to fight fires. She wins. After winning her lawsuit, Brenda Berkman quit her career as a lawyer and became a firefighter. She and approximately 40 other women became the first female firefighters in the history of the FDNY. The welcome they received from the institution was not warm. Gear was hidden, toilets were blocked, apparatus was sabotaged. They were physically and verbally assaulted by male colleagues. The union fought their presence. the department did almost nothing to stop it. They showed up anyway, every shift, for years. What happened in New York was not unique to New York. In Seattle, in 1978, a woman named Bonnie Beers joined the Seattle Fire Department and faced the same institutional war, harassment, discrimination, deliberate sabotage, for 30 years. She retired in 2008. She did not quit. She served 30 years and she held the line. These were not isolated incidents. This was the culture of the American Fire Service responding to change the only way it knew how, by trying to make the change go away. Here is a detail that sounds minor until you understand its implications. For decades, and in many departments continuing to this day, the personal protective equipment issued to female firefighters was designed for male bodies. The coats were too wide in the shoulders, the pants were wrong in the hips, the SCBA harnesses did not fit properly, the gloves were too large. This is not a comfort issue. Gear that doesn't fit is gear that doesn't protect. Gear that doesn't protect kills people. This was known, and for decades, nothing was done about it. They were told they were too weak. They were told they were a distraction. They were told the brotherhood would fall apart. They were told fires would not get put out. They were told people would die because of them. None of it was true. All of it was said. And some of it is still being said right now. Research consistently shows that female firefighters perform comparably to their male colleagues on job-relevant tasks and outperform them in areas like communication, de-escalation, and EMS competency. Departments with gender-diverse crews show no degradation in operational effectiveness. Several studies show improved outcomes. The argument against female firefighters was never about capability. It was always about identity, about who got to belong. Through the 1980s, small numbers of women entered fire departments across the country, not because the institutions welcomed them, but because the law required it and the women demanded it. Each new woman was a battle, a lawsuit, a test, a grievance filed, a decade of proving herself before being taken half seriously. The progress was real. It was also brutally slow, and it came at an enormous personal cost. East Point, Georgia, 2002. Rosemary Roberts Cloud becomes the first African-American woman named fire chief in the United States. She began her career as a firefighter in Atlanta 29 years earlier. She managed 4 fire stations and more than 100 employees. She was inducted into the Hall of Fame for exemplary service to mankind. Rosemary Cloud did not just break a glass ceiling. She broke the entire building and built a new one. September 11, 2001. The FDNY loses 343 firefighters, the largest single-day loss in fire service history. Among those who respond to Ground Zero in the hours and days after, Brenda Berkman, the same woman who had sued the FDNY for the right to be a firefighter 19 years earlier. She worked Ground Zero. She recovered remains. She did not leave until she had to. Here is something that took decades to be properly studied.
This suggests a higher occupational
Female firefighters face elevated cancer risks from occupational exposure. And for years, the research was done almost entirely on male bodies.
Deep breath in.
The gear was designed for male bodies. The health protocols were designed for male bodies. The research was designed for male bodies. The women were expected to fit into a system that had been built without a single measurement taken of them. One of the most persistent and one of the most deliberate obstacles placed in front of female firefighters has been physical facilities. For years, fire stations had no women's bathrooms, no women's changing areas, no women's showers. Female firefighters were told to use a closet, a mop room, a single-stall toilet down the hall. This is not an oversight. It is a message. The message is, you don't belong here, and the message was sent on purpose. Sexual harassment inside fire stations is not a series of isolated incidents. Research and surveys of female firefighters consistently show that the majority experience harassment during their careers, and the majority do not report it. Because reporting it means reporting it to the same institution that employs the person who harassed you. The same institution that would rather you left than make the problem visible. The The women who reported faced retaliation. The women who didn't face continued harassment. The institution won either way. We want you to sit with something for a moment. These women knew what they were walking into. Some of them had been warned directly by colleagues, by union reps, by the institution itself. And they showed up anyway, every shift, through the sabotage and the harassment and the gear that didn't fit and the shower that wasn't there and the 1,000 daily messages telling them they did not belong. They showed up because the job was real, the fire was real, and they were real, whether the institution admitted it or not. One of the reasons female representation in the fire service has remained so low is what researchers call the pipeline problem. Most girls never see a female firefighter. Most recruitment is done in environments where women are not. When you have never seen someone who looks like you doing a job, it is very difficult to imagine yourself in it. The fire service has, in many departments, done almost nothing to build the pipeline, because building the pipeline means genuinely wanting women in the seats, and not every department has gotten there yet. In response to the pipeline problem, a growing number of programs have been built specifically to recruit and prepare women for the fire service. Women in Fire, the United Women Firefighters Training Program in New York, Summer Heat Fire Camp in Colorado, a week-long firefighting academy for young women. These programs are producing recruits who are prepared, committed, and ready. The pipeline can be built. The only question is whether the institution wants to build it. The story of women in firefighting is not only a story about structure fires in city departments. Women entered the wildland fire service in the early 1970s, working alongside hotshot crews, heli-tac teams, and engine crews in some of the most demanding fire environments on Earth. They packed the same weight, hiked the same miles, dug the same line, and faced the same institutional resistance, with the added obstacle of being in a backcountry environment where the resistance could be even harder to document. 2022, Los Angeles, the second largest fire department in the United States, names its new chief. Her name is Kristin Crowley. She is the first woman and the first openly gay person ever named chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department. She did not get the job because she was a woman. She got it because she was the most qualified person for the job, which she could demonstrate, because enough doors had finally opened enough for her to walk through them. Also in 2022, the same year Crowley took command in Los Angeles, Laura Kavanagh became the first female commissioner of the New York City Fire Department. The department where 40 years earlier, Brenda Berkman had to sue her way through the door. The department where women had been told directly that they did not belong. The same department, different leadership, different future. Here is where we have to be honest with you. Everything we have described, the harassment, the sabotage, the gear that doesn't fit, the facilities that aren't there, the tests designed to fail them, this is not all past tense. It is happening right now, in fire stations across America in 2026. The institution has changed. It has not changed enough. And the women inside it are still paying the price for the gap between what the law says and what the culture does. Culture in a fire station comes from the top. When a chief models inclusion, when a captain holds every member of the crew to the same standard of conduct, when a firefighter who harasses a colleague is held accountable rather than protected, the culture changes. When the opposite happens, when harassment is overlooked, when the female firefighter's complaint disappears into a filing cabinet, when the chief jokes about firewomen at the station dinner, the culture calcifies. The captain who sets the right tone has more power over this issue than any law, any lawsuit, any HR policy ever written. While the institutions debate, while the union meetings go long, while the fitness test standards are reviewed for the 14th time, while the chief considers whether to order the new gear, while the Firehouse Culture Committee meets once a quarter. The women are at work. They are on the truck. They are on the scene. They are pulling people out of burning buildings and giving CPR in living rooms and cutting people out of cars on the highway. The argument against them is academic. Their presence is a fact. What does genuine inclusion in the fire service look like?
Under construction.
Not a quota,
Yes, Chief. The
not
gear
a
order with
checkbox
female
on a
sizes has
diversity
also been
report,
placed.
not a female
Excellent. This
face on
shows
the
we wanted
recruitment
them before they
poster,
arrived.
while the culture
Exactly.
inside the
We're
station
ready.
remains unchanged. It looks like gear ordered in female sizes before the woman is hired, not after she complains. Facilities that exist when she arrives,
For your
not
exemplary
renovated
service,
3 years
I
into her
promote you to
tenure.
lieutenant.
A chief who says
Thank
on
you,
day
sir.
one that the
I am
standard for
deeply
how we
honored.
treat each other here is non-negotiable for everyone, and a culture that sees a female firefighter as a firefighter. 200 years ago, a woman in a checked apron and calico dress pulled a water pump through a blizzard alone and saved lives that would otherwise have been lost. Her name was Molly Williams. She was the first. 200 years later, a woman in SCBA and modern turnout gear walks into a burning building in every major city in America. She is a firefighter. She always was. The institution that spent 200 years telling her she couldn't do this. She has been doing it for 200 years. The fire did not care about her gender. The job did not care about her gender. The people she saved did not care about her gender. Only the institution cared, and the institution was wrong. These are the women who ran in. They ran in then. They run in now. They will run in tomorrow. And we will... and its unfinished work. If this documentary moved you, share it right now. Because the women in this film did not just fight for themselves. They fought for the idea that the best person for the job gets the job. That is an idea worth spreading. If you are watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe. We put out a new documentary every week, new stories, real history, the fire service as it is, as it was, and as it should be. And leave a comment. Tell us which woman in this documentary hit hardest for you. We read every one. The oath isn't just taken once, it's kept every single day by every firefighter who shows up, regardless of what the institution told them they were allowed to be.